everybody. Welcome to the Asana and Astrology series. This is the class for Leo. I'm Serena Jetelina, and this is Catherine Ashworth, our lovely Leo today. And a special welcome to all those who have their sun sign in Leo or rising or moon. And we're going to move through some poses today that will help us embody all of the things that the beautiful lion of the zodiac brings us. To begin, lie down on your back. Legs are extended, and arms are resting, palms facing up, next to the thighs and the hips. You can bend your knees here if there's any discomfort in the low back. Leo is Latin for lion, and it's the only beast of prey in the zodiac. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. Leo is ruled by the sun. It's a fire sign. And so those are some of the things that we'll begin to channel. But before we go into any of that, it's really important for you to find yourself grounded in your own body. So take a few moments here to bring your attention in. Notice how the body feels. Notice if there's tension or looseness. Notice if you can't feel any part of your body at all. And just notice. That's the one thing that we're cultivating, is bringing awareness. And then see if you can begin to feel your breath. You know, fire signs want to just charge forth, and especially the lion, right? You want to go out and accomplish and do. But before we do that, find that inner life force, the breath that moves inside the body. Connect to that. See how you're feeling. And that will then determine how you can move and go from there. So we will begin to find a little movement now, staying with your breath and staying with the body. As you inhale, draw the arms out and away from you and all the way up along the floor toward the head. And imagine them flickering like flames of fire. So you could maybe find a little movement, exhaling and bringing the arms down as you come, and just doing that on your own breath. So inhaling the flames up and exhaling the flames down on your own pace. So we want to start to channel this warmth, the heat of fire. And then we'll add in some axial movement, some spinal movement. Leo rules the spine, one of the things. So on the next inhale that you do, go ahead and just lift the chest up. So as your arms are coming out away from you, you're expanding and lifting the chest, letting a nice curve in the low back come in, and as you exhale, you'll lower down. And it could be as big or as small as you like. But engaging and awakening this central channel. And we'll do that one more time with your breath. Opening and expanding into the possibilities of what today's practice will bring us. And then go ahead and pause, bend the knees, and bring the feet flat on the floor. So we'll take that same idea of moving body and breath, but focusing it on just the pelvic floor now. So as you exhale, you'll draw the center of the pelvis in and up and hug the belly in just lightly. Just gently. And then as you inhale, release the belly and release any engagement in the pelvic floor. So again, it could be really subtle, or you might find yourself coming into a pelvic tilt and lifting, the hips off the ground, if that feels good. But being with the breath, and the reason we're starting here is we want to build a oven, a container for the fire that Leo holds. And that's actually the type of fire that Leo is. They're the hearth. So imagine that warm, soothing, nourishing fire. That's what we're cultivating here. And we're going to continue cultivating that. Go ahead and release any of the pelvic floor movement. And bring your hands to your belly. And find a diaphragmatic breath. So the diaphragm rests right underneath the rib cage and the navel. And as this contracts, the abdomen fills up. The lungs have breath in them. And then as the diaphragm releases, the abdomen falls and you expel the air out of the lungs. So find this diaphragmatic breath, and then just like a kitty cat kneading, just go ahead and knead your belly. So you know how it's the most adorable things that felines do. They come up to you and they really just want affection. And that's what we're going to give ourselves today. So just massaging all the stuckness in here. And before we go into abdominals, it's really important to note that we don't want tension. What we want is activation. So loving this area and kneading it, and then releasing and bringing the hands back behind the neck so that you're supporting the head, and then extending the left foot straight out on the floor away from you. So we'll move with the breath. On the inhale, raise the shoulders up off the ground and the foot just about an inch off the ground. And as you exhale, draw the elbows toward the central body and raise the foot just a little bit more. And then inhale, release down and hover, and exhale, draw up. And then keep doing that on your own breath. So it's just really tiny micro movements. And really focusing the energy and the heat on our own hearth. We're stoking our own fire. But we're also doing it in a way to where we can contain it so that we don't ferociously release on everybody around us. One more here. And then switching the legs, so bending the left knee and extending the right. Inhale, lift the shoulders up and lift the right foot off the ground, just like an inch or two. And then as you exhale, bring the elbows up and lift the foot up a little more. And then inhale, releasing down. So move at your own breath. And again, you can imagine the fire in the belly. And this is also so important because our intuition, our gut instinct, animal instincts, this is where that lies. So we want to wake this up and make sure that we actually have something that we can listen to. So once you've done an equal amount, go ahead and release. And then bend the right knee, and we'll roll over onto all fours. So you'll come into tabletop position. Hands will be underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. And so we'll move through cat-cow, which many of you are familiar with, but really embody the cat on this one, right? And think of the lion. So it's not just this sweet little kitty cat moving through, coming up to a cow. Really embody this strength that a lion has. And you can even come up on your fingertips and work the claws so that you can press the fingertips into the ground, really reach up through the thoracic spine, and inhale, releasing and getting a nice stretch in the lumbar curve. And then you can start to move a little bit as well. So think about how a cat pounces or a lion pounces, right? They might move forward a little bit, and then they might move back as they come into the cat, arching the back, and then inhaling, moving forward. So find your own motion, right? Try to embody a cat. Leos love to play and love playfulness, and we're going to try and bring that into class today. So you could think of, what am I as a lion? How would I move? Would my shoulders hunch back and up? Where can I get space in the belly and in the back to do the pouncing? And then we'll gradually move back into a downward dog. So you can start to hover the knees up and also lifting from the core center. And you can move forward and back in the same cat-cow motion. And just eventually working to legs straight, just how Catherine is doing, so that it's not all at once, right? You might feel these strong, beautiful muscles in the body. And then eventually coming into a comfortable downward dog position. The knees can be bent. You want to have a nice firm grasp on the floor with the fingers spread, just like Catherine is. You can see her upper back is nice and broad here, and she's engaged in the belly, but she's not tensing, so that's still soft. Great. Hold here for one more breath. Really turn the legs on. Great. And then exhale, lower the knees down. And as you inhale, come to sit back on your heels. And you can put a blanket underneath the heels or the knees if that feels good. So we're going to come into the quintessential Leo pose, which is Simhasana, lion pose, and it's a breath practice. I love this practice. It gets out any kind of stagnant energy and really awakens the body. And this is very playful as well. So no one's going to look at you. Don't think of what you're looking like, but we're going to expel a lot of energy. So how it is that you'll inhale, and as you exhale, open the mouth, draw the tongue out, and you'll make an audible noise. So I'll demonstrate once. It looks like this. Hopefully that wasn't too loud in the microphone. So we'll do that 3 times. So go ahead and take a nice big inhale. And then as you exhale, open the mouth, stick out the tongue, and press the breath out. Go for it, Catherine. Yeah. Be a loud, ferocious lion. Another inhale. And really get out. What are you angry about? What are you not wanting in your life? What is stagnant inside there? Maybe someone made you angry or cut you off, whatever it is. Breathe all of that out. And then after your third one, take the hands to the heart, close the eyes, and take 3 deep breaths into the heart region. So Leo also rules the heart. And this is, you think of the courage, the love, the affection that Leos have, the generosity. So now that we've gotten out some of the destructive qualities that fire can bring, breathe in now some of these nourishing qualities that fire has. And then go ahead and open your eyes, hands come back on the ground, and press back into a downward dog. Really lift the hips high. And as you open in the upper back here, know that you're also connecting into the back of the heart. So there's a connection between the front and the back. And we'll talk about that a little more later. So then moving up into a standing pose, you'll look forward on the inhale, and you can step or walk or jump or pounce your way all the way up to the top of the mat for an Uttanasana, forward fold. Really relax the back here, and then bending the knees, press the feet into the ground, and lift all the way up to standing in whatever way feels comfortable to you. Good. All right, and we'll find a little bit of openness in the chest. So alternating shoulder shrugs. So Catherine, you might, I guess you could stay right there, and I'll demonstrate this way. So inhaling, lifting the right shoulder up, and as you exhale, opening. And then the same thing, inhaling, lifting the left shoulder up, and exhale, drawing it down. Right, exactly like this. So find some freedom, some free movement. So there's a flexion as you come up and an extension, and we're just gently waking up the whole chest region where the heart lies. Yeah, and exactly like Catherine's doing, you can bring the arms out if that feels good. But we want some space for the heart to be able to breathe. Good. And then finishing up an even amount, come back to center, and we'll do some more axial movement. And this time as you exhale, you're turning the palms in and flexing the shoulders forward. The chin comes down toward the chest, and then as you inhale, you're externally rotating the hands and the shoulders out, opening across the chest, and even lifting the chin. So go ahead and move through that on your own breath. And again, your hands can be by your side, or they can be out like Catherine. And you can even bend the elbows if you like. But what's happening in your spine? What's happening in the central part of your body? That's the stability and structure that holds us up. Keep going, yeah, with your breath. We'll just do 2 more here. Good. And you're also closing in, regaining some of your security and opening so that you can give. And then come back to center. So I mentioned that Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun is the most important planet in the zodiac. So we're going to salute the sun in sun salutations. So feet are hip distance apart and arms are by the side. Find the balance between the balls of the feet and the heel of the foot. Activate the legs by gently pressing the feet into the floor. Lift up through the pelvis. Gently turn the abdominals on. Open through the chest, just how you did. Relax the shoulders down. Align the back of the head with the tailbone. And then as you inhale, draw the arms out and up, all the way up overhead. And exhale, bend the knees, forward fold, moving from your center. Good. Lengthen halfway here, so you're going to lift the torso up just halfway, out through the crown, and exhale, fold forward. Good. Inhale, coming back into either a high plank or a tabletop position. Good. And exhale, lowering the knees, and then lowering the chest all the way down to the ground. Then as you inhale, moving up the chest into a Bhujangasana cobra pose or a low cobra. Exhale, lowering down. Inhaling into the upper back, curling the toes under, and exhaling, lifting up into a downward dog. You can move through tabletop or through a plank like Catherine did, and that can change at any point. On the inhale, drawing the right leg up, and then drawing the knee to the chest, so the front foot comes forward into a low lunge. There we go. Yeah, back knee comes down on the ground. We're staying low to the ground today for the most part as we warm up. Arms come all the way up. Good. And exhale, hands down on either side of the front foot. Yep. And inhale into a high plank or tabletop. Lower the knees and exhale, bring the chest all the way down to the ground here. Inhale, moving through the low cobra or cobra, so hands can be forward for support, and then exhaling, lowering back down. Inhale, curl the toes under, and exhale back into your downward dog. Great. Then inhale, lift the left leg up. On the exhale, draw the knee toward the chest and plant the front foot on the ground. Back knee comes down to the floor for low lunge. Arms come all the way up, open through the chest, shining, and exhale, hands down, either side. Inhale into your high plank or tabletop. You can move through that same movement we just did, or you can just come and sit back in a child's pose. So lower the knees, then lower the chest to the ground. Inhale up into cobra or low cobra. So spread the collarbones wide here, good, just like Catherine is doing, and then exhale, lower down. Inhale, curl the toes under, and exhale, back downward dog. Great. So you might find that you're getting a little more space now. You're also probably building a little more heat. Move that through the whole body. Inhale, look forward, step, jump, pounce all the way to the top of the mat, whatever you like, forward fold. And then inhale, pressing feet into the ground, bend to the knees, arms come all the way up into standing. Excellent, hands at heart center. Great. So we'll move through another standing series here. Inhaling the arms up and out. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway, open through the chest. Great. Exhale, fold forward. And then on the inhale, reach the left leg back for warrior one. So hips stay in alignment and hips are facing square to the front of the mat. Arms come all the way up and the front knee is bent. So you can see how Catherine has this really great angle here. Her front knee is directly over the ankle. That's really good. Her hips are aligned and she's engaged through the whole pelvic floor that we warmed up at the beginning. So her solid foundation for Leo is set. She's not gonna run off in her warrior. So now we're gonna continue working with the spine and initiating movement. If you look at animals and lions, they know exactly how to move their muscles, and that's what we wanna do. We want to feel into that. So you can bring your hands back with your little lion claws, or your big lion claws for that matter, and we'll initiate some movement from the pelvis. So as you exhale, you're bringing the pelvis down, then the belly, then the chest, then the head. And as you inhale, lifting back up in the same direction from the pelvis, the belly, the chest, the head. So go ahead, Catherine, you can find your movement. So you're kind of snaking, right? But you're also in a balance pose. Leos work with the sentence or the idea of I will. There's willpower. Where there's a will, there's a way. So maybe you're not used to moving the spine in this way, but you can. And then coming back up to center, we'll do the same thing, but this time initiating movement from the head. So the head will come down first, then the shoulders, then the chest, the belly, and the hips, and coming back up, just like Catherine's doing. So you're snaking. This kind of movement was so difficult for me growing up. I grew up very rigid, and I am actually a Leo rising. So it's really important to get in the body and feel that movement. Let's do one more. Coming all the way down, and then inhaling, arms come all the way up, moving into a twist. On the exhale, drawing the right hand down and twisting, bringing the arms to a T, twisting to the right, the other way. She's gonna face you. There we go. Hug the thighs in here, keep strong legs, and open the chest. Excellent, good. Arms are spread, good. And then inhale, come back to center. And then taking the hands back behind you, clasping at the sacrum. Inhale, lift the sternum up, and exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good. Take one more big inhale, lifting up toward the sky with the sternum, and then as you exhale, lean forward, coming into humble warrior. So we have the sun, right? This bright, shining thing. And Leos can sometimes get egotistical. There's this, I'm the sun, I bring life to everyone. This is true. These are all very true things, but when that fire is out of whack, we're gonna bring a little bit of humility here. So then inhale, come back up. As you exhale, straighten the front leg, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, lengthen and lift up in the sternum once again, and then exhale, come forward just halfway, so you're resting. Getting a nice stretch in the legs, and really engaging and strengthening the low back, the abs, and lifting through the upper back. So this is beautiful. Catherine has such good definition here in her spine, in her central channel. Great. And then bending the front knee, inhale, lift up, and exhale, hands come all the way down to the ground. And inhale into tabletop. Knees are on the floor, and we'll take Anahatasana here, heart chakra, heart opening pose. I don't really want to say heart opening pose, but heart chakra pose. We don't force anyone's heart open. We give it a place to rest. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Hands are going to come in front. So it's like you're coming into a downward dog or extended puppy pose. This is oftentimes called. So you're bringing the chest down toward the ground and the hips stay up toward the ceiling. Right. Exactly like this. So there's some fluidity and some pliability. One of the qualities of fire is that it's mobile. So imagine that heat that we've generated in the hips moving up and softening the shoulders and the heart. And you can also bend a forearm if that feels good to support you here. Exactly. And then inhale, pressing the hands into the ground, coming back up. And exhale back into a downward dog. Good. And then we'll move to the other side. So this time warrior one with the left foot forward. So again here, you're going to find solid foundation. The hips are facing forward. And then let's find our movement and our playful, ferocious feline here. So find your claws and then initiate movement from the pelvis, relaxing and releasing the belly. Go ahead and move. All the way down. Yeah, exactly. And again, we find some fluidity. And what we're doing with this is training the spine and strengthening all of the surrounding muscles that support it, so it's not alone. We're also getting the synovial fluid, the joints fluids moving and working. And then coming back up to center, you'll move in the opposite direction, so this time moving with the head first, and then the chest. And it's also helping us be aware of space, so spatial awareness. Think of the sun, it shines down on everything. It's this round ball, but it's shining down forward, horizontally, vertically, behind you. It's everywhere. So we're moving through these spaces. And then come back to center. We're going to move into the twist. So exhaling, the left hand comes down, bringing the arms to a T and twisting open to the left. Exactly. Hug the thighs in here. Keep your strong foundation. Good. And open through the chest. Great. Great, Catherine. Keep the breath moving. And then inhale, come back to center. Clasp the hands behind at the sacrum. Exhale. Inhale, lift up through the sternum. And as you exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So imagine the sun bursting out of your chest. Inhaling, opening to that warmth, that light. And then exhale, humbling it down, bowing down. So this is the thing with Leos, is that we can't help but be attracted to the sun. We need the sun. And if Leos wouldn't accept the attention, where would we be? If the sun was just like, oh no, I don't want you to look at me or grow toward me. If Leos did that, we would all just be in darkness, dying. Inhale, come back up. So that humility is also to ourselves. Hands come to the hips, exhale, straighten the front leg. And inhale, open in the chest once more. And then as you exhale, lead with the heart, bowing forward. So here we're integrating a little more. Hips are still stable. Spreading across the collarbones, great. And strengthening the back, but while also opening the heart. So we're giving it a place to live, the whole body. Bend to the front knee, inhale, come up. And then exhaling, hands come down on either side of the front foot. Inhale into tabletop, and as you exhale, move down into the Anahatasana pose. Again, you can also just take a child's pose if you like, and see if you can imagine that fire and that heat and that affection for oneself softening and hardening any edges. Good. And then inhale, pressing the hands into the ground, bringing back up into tabletop, exhale back into a downward dog. Lengthening and finding space. You can already see she's so much longer. And then looking forward, pouncing, stepping, jumping all the way to the top of the mat. Exhaling, forward fold, and then inhale, opening the arms out, shining through the heart, and exhale, hands at heart center. Great. So I've talked a little bit about fire and heat and the containment of that and how important that is. So we'll work with a practice called Agni Sara. Agni is fire, and Sara is essence. So to work with this, spread the feet a little wider than hip distance apart, and then bring the hands to rest on the knees. Good. So it's a little bit like cat-cow, how we did earlier, but a little more engaged. So inhale and release anything that you're holding in the buttocks, in the pelvic floor, in the belly. And then as you exhale, begin to draw the belly back toward the center of the spine. And find a little bit of movement in the back too, so that it's not rigid. Inhale, releasing. And then just continue pumping the abdominals this way. And you can go as slow or as fast as you like. So there's a tale in mythology about the son of the god who drove the chariot that raised the sun every day. And he goes to his father and he says, I really want to drive the chariot. I really want to drive the chariot. And he says, no, you're not ready. There's too much. But because he has all this enthusiasm and courage and will, right? He's like, no, Dad, I can do it. Well, it was a little too much. He hadn't quite built this container yet. So he took off in the chariot and he burned all of the other animals in the star constellations, and the sun never actually came up. It was all over the place. So Agni Sara, this practice here, helps us to contain and also draw the light in and out for everyone. Go ahead and rest the Agni Sara practice. Come up to standing, close the eyes, and bring the hands to heart center. And then actually place your palms on the heart. Yeah. Feel it beating. Close the eyes. Know that you are alive. And we feel that, right? We check our pulse. Is this person alive? But we hardly ever bring attention to nourishing the heart. Stay with your breath. And then go ahead and release the hands. And we'll step back the left foot first into a warrior two pose. So for warrior two, the front heel is matched up with the back arch, and the back foot turns in just slightly. And then go ahead and bring the arms out to a T, palms facing down. And again, the front thigh, the knee is bent directly over the front ankle. So here we're going to continue opening up the heart and the back and focusing a little more on the back. We're coming into archer arms, or what's known as cow face arms. So bringing the right hand up toward the ceiling and bending the right elbow back behind you. So you can either take your left hand and place it on top of the elbow, just have it right here, or if you have a little more flexibility or want to move a little more, you can draw the left arm down, bend both elbows, and take the hands toward one another. So here, imagine focusing down in the sacrum. You're lengthening the sacrum down, you're engaging in the belly, and you're also lifting and opening up in the chest. And see if you can bring just as much space to the back of the body as you are to the front. And then inhale, release. Exhale, straighten the front leg, and we'll move into triangle pose, leading with the heart forward. You're good. And tilting at the pelvis, bringing the right hand all the way down to the floor or a block. So again, here we're opening the chest. And from this position, just go ahead and let the left arm come all the way down toward the other hand, and then inhale, lift it up. Exactly. And continue with that movement on your breath. So you're drawing the heart down and opening. It's this flexion, extension. You're coming in and offering yourself affection and opening up to the world. And then bending the front knee, inhale, come all the way back up into warrior two. Great. And just pause here again. Feel the strength and the courage in the legs, the fire in the body. And then as you exhale, bring the right elbow down onto the right thigh. And we're coming into an extended modified side angle here. So Catherine's brought her back hand down to the back of her sacrum. That's a great place for it to be. You can also lift the arm up, or you can open the chest by bending the elbow and bringing it out. So you want some space in between the shoulder and the neck here. Good, so she's gonna press in there. And keep holding and opening the chest. And then inhale, lift all the way up. And then turning to face me, Catherine, you're gonna straighten the leg, good. And the feet are gonna be out at a 45-degree angle. So we're gonna give our legs a little bit of a break and take star pose. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, and then soften a little bit. Close the eyes and see if you can't feel the brightest star in the sky, the sun, radiating on you, so that the body is engaged, but it's not tense. So at the same time that you're giving and offering light, you're bringing it into yourself. And then we'll just move the arms a little bit. So inhale, reaching out, and then as you exhale, draw the arms in and down and back up, and then switch the alternation. Good. Exactly like that. Great. One more. So you're like waving, hey everybody, I'm here. I'm bringing warmth. I'm bringing life. And then we'll turn to the other side, warrior two. So find your solid foundation first. Catherine's got her feet set up, her legs are set up, and then we'll take the arm position on this side. So the left hand comes up, bends the left elbow, and reaching over, or bringing the right hand down and clasping behind at the back, whichever version. Make sure there's still some space, lengthening the sacrum down away from you, and then opening through the front of the chest as well as the back. Is your breath still moving? Can you still bring an element of playfulness into this pose? One more breath here. And then inhale, release. Exhale, straighten the front leg. And we're preparing for triangle pose, Trikonasana. So shift the weight back, shift the hips back as you lean forward, find space in the side body, and then exhale, lower down. This is a great place for pacifying pitta or pacifying fire. So when you feel that your fire is totally out of control and you're just gonna like roar all over somebody, take a triangle. Bring some equanimity, some balance. And again, you can open the chest. Good. And then bending the front knee, inhale, lift all the way back up, find your warrior two. Soften the shoulders here just slightly. And feel there's a regalness to this pose, just like there's a regalness. There's a great word, magnanimity, magnanimous, noble, unselfish, kind-hearted. These are all Leo characteristics. So let's find our modified side angle, bringing the forearm down to the thigh, and whichever version you like with the top hand, back at the sacrum, lifting all the way up, or the elbow bent and coming behind, and making sure there's space in between the left shoulder and ear. Good. Legs are strong. You're stronger than you think. Where's that willpower? I will and I can. And then inhale, coming all the way back up, straightening the front leg, and then facing me. I forgot we aren't turning the other side. So arms come out again. Find your star pose. So, and it's not just about shining brightly, but it's about being in one's true nature. That's really what Leo is. And that's what I was kind of saying, is that if you could imagine the sun turning away from you, how sad that would feel. And so if Leo turned away from their true nature, we would lose a lot of warmth, of personality in the world. So imagining that again, bringing that in, cultivating that in your star pose. And then we'll find some movement, this time drawing the torso out and to the side. So you're going to find movement, inhaling, opening up to the left, and coming all the way around through the front and back to the side. Right. So some more axial movement, this time laterally, and keep going on the breath. Just do 3 of those, and then we'll switch to the other side, but also engaging through the abdomen. So that integration is so important. Integrating gut, integrating heart, integrating stability. I think one more. Did you switch sides yet? Switch sides. And balancing here too. The hatha of hatha yoga is sun and moon. The sun being that active, young, energizing aspect, but also finding a balance and integrating through the whole body. Once you've balanced and finished, then turn to face the front of the mat and close back at the top. Good. So again, we're going to bring the hands to the heart, and the hands are touching the heart, so not each other. So go ahead and place your hands on your heart. Good. Feel the beating, the vitality. Feel that directly connected to the breath. And then keeping the hands on the heart with the eyes closed, just rotate the head and the neck to the right. And then inhale, come back to center, and rotate the neck to the left. So Catherine's tilting here, which is also good. So and just keep doing that on the breath. And you can bring it forward, if that feels good, letting the chin come down to the front of the chest. But there's the axis and the atlas that are up here in the cervical spine. And they say the weight of the world lies on the axis. So finding some space in this part of the spine. And also some release in the neck. We also hold a lot here on the shoulders, and that directly compresses onto the heart. And then coming back to center, resting here, and then opening the eyes and coming down onto your knees. So we'll come all the way down to the floor. So we'll take camel pose, preparing for camel pose. And there's a few different ways that you can do it. There's a supported camel, which we might show, I think, just because it feels really nice. And we're trying to give the heart some support, as opposed to just throwing it out and vomiting our heart all over the world. We're reining it in a little bit. But you can also do camel without any support. You can use a block in between the thighs, or a bolster and a blanket behind, which is what Catherine and I will demonstrate here. So if you have a bolster or a blanket, come up onto your knees. So sitting up. Yep. And we'll bring this blanket under here and then this bolster here. So she's got a little bit of support underneath the thighs. So for camel, it's going to open across the chest. I always like to start with the hands on the outside of the hips here. So your thumbs are about where the sacrum is, and your fingers are out spreading across the back, so you have some good support for the back. If you have a block, you could squeeze it here. As you inhale, lift the chest up, and then exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and gently let the pelvis come forward, coming into a slight back bend. Great. You could stay right here in your camel. You could also begin to bring some of the weight down. If this wasn't comfortable to you, you could bring the weight down into the bolster or down onto your ankles as well. So you want to soften the pelvis forward, but keep the inner thighs contained. Giving a nice, soft breath in the abs, but also engaged here, and then opening the heart. And you're not forcing it open. Again, come up whenever you like. It's not a forceful opening. It's very gentle. Great. So then you can go ahead, sit back down on the heels, and come into a child's pose. So offering the heart to the earth, offering the heart to ourselves. There's a sense of acceptance. Think of when you love someone, when you love yourself, you accept them. And true acceptance comes from the heart. And it comes from having enough backbone, if you will, spine, to let someone else be themselves, to let ourselves be natural and authentic. So we'll do a little more spine strengthening. Catherine is going to sit up. Everybody sit up back on their heels. And then moving the feet back around so that the feet are facing forward. So if you'd like to sit on a blanket here, do you want to sit on a blanket? Yeah. So Catherine's going to sit on a blanket, and this will relieve any pressure that you might feel in the back of the thighs or the hamstrings. We definitely want to make sure that's supported. So coming into Dandasana pose, staff pose. So imagining the strong spine rooting down into the earth. The sit bones root down into the earth. You're extending the legs out, they're engaged. And then hands are by the hips or just slightly behind with the fingers facing forward. And this way we're getting some external rotation in the shoulders here. So staff pose, the spine is as straight as possible and strong, but opening in the chest and spreading across the collarbones. This is Dandasana. And it may look really simple, but anyone who's in it knows that it's a very active pose. So I think of this too with the lion or the king, you know, the king of beasts, the king of the planets, knowing when to move and having the strength and stability to stay patient, but ready, right? So release the Dandasana just a little bit, and then we'll come into a slight twist. So you'll lengthen forward just a tiny bit, just so there's some space there, not that much, just go back a little, yeah, just a little bit. And then take the left hand and bring it on the outside of the right thigh. Yep. And then the right hand can either come outside of the hip or behind the thigh, coming into a twist here. Excellent. So you want to keep that engagement through the spine of the Dandasana and the legs, but you're twisting from the thoracic. Good. Opening the chest and the heart. And moving gently. Good. If your breath is compromised at all, come out of the twist and then go back into it. And then inhale, come back to center. We'll move to twist on the opposite side. So the right hand comes to rest on the outside edge of the left thigh or shin, or on top of the thigh, wherever it wants to go. The left hand comes behind, and as you inhale, you find the length in the back, in the torso, and then exhale into the twist. So the same thing with our Simhasana. We were expelling out whatever no longer served us, or any of the anger, excess fire, excess pitta. So you want to inhale fresh new energy, and then exhale gently into the twist. Good. Take one more deep breath here. And then inhale, coming back to center. And then drawing the feet on the floor and the knees up. So bending the knees, great. And our last kind of balance pose here of this integration is Merudandasana, spinal column pose. And there's a couple variations that we can do. So this could be what you want to do right here, with the hands behind the thighs, holding here, engaging in the belly, and lengthening through the chest, just like Catherine is doing right there. This is a lot, and it's that active cat. Or maybe you just feel like, you know what, I want to contain my energy right now. I want to contain all this affection and love and generosity for myself right now. That's good. Maybe you feel like, okay, I want to open it up a little bit or challenge. You can bring the hands on the insides of the big toe and hook the pointer finger and middle finger on the inside of the big toe and begin to shift the weight onto the sit bones, finding some balance there. And you can lift the feet off the ground just like Catherine is doing. You could stay right here and hold this containment, continuing to open through the chest and soften the shoulders. Good. You could begin to draw the feet up, or you could even extend the legs all the way out. And there's a great story, Mount Meru. It's a mythical mountain, but it's said to be the center of the universe. Just as this axis in our body, the spine, is the center of where all of our movements, all of our stability and structure comes from, and as the heart is as well for the emotional body. So take 2 more deep breaths here in whatever version of Merudandasana, and then exhale, releasing. Good. And then go ahead and shift your weight. So you're going to come back with the feet on either side, on the left side of the body or the right side. Yeah. And just taking a really gentle twist here. So turning to the right, Catherine is, her feet are on the left. She's going to turn to the right. And just here's your kitty cat again. Just kind of moving out into a twist. And this time we're softening. So just letting the spine do whatever it wants. Just soften the whole body. And then inhale, come back to center and shift the weight again so the legs come on the opposite side of the thighs. And then just turn, like a cat nuzzling up to you, you know, how they kind of move over to you. Catherine loves cats. I know this about her. And cats love her. So like not just nuzzling over. Good. Stay with the breath. And then inhale, coming back to center. And then shifting into our Shavasana pose. So come to lie down. And before you go straight into Shavasana, lie down and hug the knees into the chest. Do a gentle spinal roll and either rock forward and back or side to side. So just massage the back a little bit. Good. And then releasing the legs. Or doing any last movement that you'd like to do. And we'll come into a supported heart bridge. So I'm going to place this underneath Catherine's back. So you can either just roll to the side or you can lift up if you like, either way. So the bolster will come right behind her hips, and then I'll use the blanket for her head so that there's some padding here. And then go ahead and lay back down. Good. How's that? Great. So it's just a really nice opening. And again, like I said, we're not forcing the heart open. We're not forcing anyone to do anything or anything in the body to do anything. Any great king or ruler or queen or leader has that inner knowing of accepting and assessing the situation as it is, and assessing and accepting people for as they are. And when we find the support inside ourselves through the spine, through our breath, through the heart, we can bring all these qualities together. We can start to see things more clearly and bring the love and affection. And that's the gift, really, that Leo brings. And they share it with everyone. But when that support isn't there, when the structure inside them isn't there, or us, we can tend to latch on and attach to one person or one job or one thing. And that becomes the place where we want to give all of our attention and devotion to. But when we can give some support to the back of the heart, some support with the breath and our attention to the front and all around, building this little nest for the heart to rest in, then it doesn't feel so overwhelming to share. And it also doesn't feel like if we don't have attention that we're not worthy, because we are giving ourselves our own self-worth and self-love. And then from that place, the light, the gifts of Leo can be shared with everyone. So allowing your body to rest. Allowing the heat that was generated, all of the movement in the spine to soak in. And imagining all the weight of the back of the body melting into the ground. And then imagining, again, from the front of the body, all the weight from the front of the body melting into the back and into the ground. Like the embers of a flaming campfire begin to die down, but there's a warmth, there's life. And then bringing your attention and your awareness to the top of the head. And moving awareness down through the body, through the forehead, the eyes, nose, mouth, chin, neck, shoulders, upper arms, elbows, lower arms, hands, fingers, hands, wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, across the collarbone, down the chest, the center of the heart. Pausing here for a moment. And then moving down the rib cage, the belly, the hips, the pelvis, the upper legs, knees, lower legs, ankles, tops of the feet, toes, bottoms of the feet, back of the ankles, up the lower legs, back of the knees, back of the upper legs, the buttocks, the low back, the mid back, the upper back, back of the shoulders, back of the neck, back of the head, crown of the head, and then finally bringing awareness to rest at heart center. So just like the flames in a fire, we've traveled through the whole body, softened and warmed it, and now we're resting. The place of life. A place of love, of kindness. Resting in our true nature of who we are. Truly finding some acceptance of the self so that we can truly love others. As the sun, there's a great Hafez quote about the sun. And every day the sun is shining down upon the earth, giving its life, its light, its warmth to us. And the earth never says, or the sun never says, hey, you owe me, earth. Hey, you owe me, humans. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. So beginning to invite a deeper breath into the body now. Welcoming the rest of the body, moving the limbs, the fingers, the toes, maybe stretching up overhead. Finding a little more engagement and awareness, and then whenever you're ready, rolling over onto your side. Taking a moment to integrate. To know you're whole just as you are. And then softly and gently lifting yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Bringing the hands to heart center. And resting the hands once again on the heart. So palms are flat on the chest. Take 3 deep breaths here once again. Lengthening the torso. Opening through the collarbones. and finding gratitude for the heart and this life and all those around us. Thank you for joining today. Hands at Heart Center. Namaste.